Hey guys, I think I have something that's a little bit fun for you today. It's a little different. I've never done this before. Well, I'm about to be interviewed. It's a radio interview for a station that's in Perth, Australia. That part's not new. I do a lot of interviews, a lot of radio interviews and different things. But what's different is I'm going to record it here. I have the camera over there. And I thought, why not just hit the record button and have some fun with it. So it's a radio station that's in Perth, Australia, which is in the western part of Australia. It's a national radio station, so it'll be broadcast all over the country over there. Now, one thing I'm not sure, I think it might be a radio station that particularly caters to people with visual impairments. I'm not sure about that, but that's sort of the feeling that I get. But I did check out their website, and they do a ton of different programming. It's really awesome. So either way, it's really cool. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I have my phone right here. So my phone's right here, and then the mic. So it's going to be over the phone, and because of the time difference, it's going to be about 8:30 my time when we do the interview. They'll record it and then they'll broadcast it later. So I've got this. I'll record it. Generally, when I do interviews and stuff, if it's over the phone or Zoom or something, I usually paint. No reason to lose time painting, right? So I'll be working on this, and actually, this painting I'll tell you about really quick. It's another one for the Texas Rail. It's going to be hanging in Fort Worth on the rail line. So, and what we have is some butterflies that are in the foreground down here, and some plants, and some other butterflies that are flying up, and they're starting to spiral off into the sky. So that's kind of where I have it right now. So I'll be working on that, and I think the interview will be interesting. Sometimes they ask questions that I never would have thought of. You just never know. So maybe it'll be something interesting and fun. I don't know. We'll find out together. I do know that. So I'll let you go for now. I'll start all this back up whenever it's time for the call. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun having you guys along for this. Thanks, guys. Well, hello there.
G'day, John. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. Thanks for taking the call, mate. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks so much for reaching out to me.
Yeah, man. Not a problem at all. It's a pleasure to have a yarn with you. Mate, I've got to transfer you through to our desk, and then my co-host Alexia is going to be joining you on the call as well.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just going to transfer you through, and then we'll go from there.
That sounds great.
All right, 2 minutes, mate.
All right.
You there, mate?
Oh, I sure am.
Sweet.
Hey, John, how you going?
Well, good. How about you?
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks so much for reaching out.
Yeah, mate. It's funny. We came across it and we were blown away by kind of what we saw and what we're still looking through. So
it's exciting for us.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Really good.
Thank you so much, and please feel free to ask anything. I work with kids a lot, so I'm used to answering all kinds of questions.
All right, perfect. Well, hopefully they don't show us up and ask smarter questions than what we do. So, John, I'm just gonna record our chat if that's all right with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, John, you're an internationally recognized artist. How does it feel to be, like, essentially not only one of the best artists in the world, but also being able to do it while being blind? Is that going to give you, like, a bit of a story to poke fun at someone else?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for saying that. That's so nice of you to say. But it's an extremely surprising feeling. Whenever I lost my eyesight, I had done art all my life, but whenever I had lost my eyesight, I thought I'd lost the artwork forever. It wasn't even a thought in my mind. And the idea that today, that's what I do as a profession, it blows me away. I just feel completely blessed.
John, how old were you when you lost your eyesight?
Oh my goodness. Let me see. I was in college, but I left college and went back. So I was in my mid 20s to late 20s, mid 20s. I'm awful when it comes to dates.
And can you tell us a bit about how losing your eyesight came about?
Yeah, I was born with epilepsy, and it developed into severe epilepsy. I was just having terrible seizures, and then later on, I got Lyme's disease, which is a tick-borne illness, and it affects your nervous system. And the Lyme's disease went undiagnosed for years because my neurologist were just looking at the seizures, at the epilepsy, and it just seemed like the epilepsy had taken a weird turn. Like they didn't know what was going on, but the seizures were just getting worse and worse, and it developed to the point where I was having seizures where my breathing would stop and my heart would stop, and that's really bad for your brain apparently, so I was just having these seizures that was causing damage to my occipital lobe, where the optic nerve was going in, and my neurologist, he described it. It was just like getting hit in the back of the head over and over and over again. It's like, if you had a bat and you were just whacking it, and it was a terrible thing. At the time whenever I found out that eyesight was going, I was so angry. I was so depressed. It was just, I thought my life was over. I mean, I thought anything good in my life, anything new was completely gone. I just thought it was, over.
Now, because at the time you were studying at the University of North Texas and completing your honors and hoping to be a creative writing teacher.
Right.
That obviously, that kind of threw a bit of a spanner in the works, as they say. And then you discovered, and then you discovered painting. So how did painting come about?
Well, I was fortunate to have lost my eyesight while I was in college because the university that I went to was extremely progressive, and I thought I had to leave school. I mean, I thought everything was over, but they were like, no, you don't. The technology that's out there right now, the adaptations, all of the accommodations, all the different things, were just incredible. But I just didn't see it really happening. But I had to start learning how to read and write again, and that took quite a while. And you start learning how to use software on the computer, like JAWS and NVDA, that's screen readers that basically just read for you. I was learning how to do Braille. But I was an English major, and I was still going to classes. I was getting incompletes in the classes. I would have somebody that would guide me to the class that would walk me there, and but I couldn't read or write. So I have a dark sense of humor, sort of. So it was kind of funny in a way because I would go to these classes and I couldn't read the books and I couldn't write the papers. So I just kind of sat there like a bump on a log. But I listened to what everybody was saying.
For my dog ate my homework excuse anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But there was a bright side to it, and then I didn't have any homework at the time, so that was good. But with the free time though, but I was learning everything that I was supposed to be. I was learning the Braille, I was learning orientation and mobility. That's the skills where you learn how to walk with a white cane, and later I learned how to use a guide dog, and that's what I use now. But it took about a year though for me to be able to travel independently. To be able to use a white cane and actually walk to the college by myself. And during that time though, I was learning how to read and write again. And I'd had art my entire life. Like I was sick a lot as a child, and I would draw every day. Every day, I could draw before I could walk. And then I'm a huge nerd, so I took every class. I read every book I could on drawing. I learned how to do drafting, like the blueprints for houses, how to do cartooning, how to do anything, that had anything to do with drawing. And it was my way of dealing with anything bad in my life. So if it was a bad day, I could draw and, it made the day better. But if it was a good day, the art made the good day even, it was a great way to celebrate a good day. So growing up, I had art, and then after losing my eyesight, I didn't have that anymore, and I was so angry and I was so depressed. That's really what pushed me into painting, is that I couldn't read or write anymore, but I needed to get, I needed to have the drawing back. I needed, to have some sort of outlet because I was just so angry. And so I started, I was walking to school one day and I was using my cane, and I happened to think like the curb that I was walking on, it was so straight, it was just straight as a line. And that line would go up and it would meet another line, another curb, and where at that intersection where the two curbs met, you knew exactly where in the city you were gonna, where you were. You couldn't be anywhere else. You knew exactly where you were. And I thought, well, my word, if I can use my sense of touch to be able to cross a city, surely you can use those same techniques and be able to cross a canvas. So I started working on lines that I could touch and feel. So, so I could make a mark on a piece of paper or a canvas and actually feel that line. It was raised up or sticky, it felt different. And that's where I started
Tom,
trying.
can you just describe your work for people who haven't seen it and how you implement the things you see or things you do in your life to then go onto a canvas?
My artwork now is extremely bright. It's so full of color. The more I paint, the happier I am, and the more full of emotion. And color is a great way to express emotion. It's a great way to express joy and bad feelings too. But so my paintings are full of color. But when I first started, though, I couldn't draw that well. So everything was extremely geometric. Like I'm sitting in my studio right now, and if you were in here with me, you would see all these paintings around us. And the paintings from way back when were extremely simple, maybe 2 colors or 3 colors. There was no blending. There was no shadow. There's the lines are extremely thick and raised. But over like the past 18 years that I've been painting, I've been able to draw thinner lines and be able to use more color, be able to do shadow and shading. And one of the things that I wanted to do with my painting, one of the big things, was just to connect with other people. I felt so isolated and alone. Artwork was a way of me reaching out to people and saying, even though I lost my eyesight, I'm still me in here. It's still John. Sometimes, and I've noticed this with a lot of people who have visual impairments, a lot of times people don't know how to relate to you. Like they're not sure what you understand if you're really getting everything the way other people do. And I wanted to let people know that, hey, I'm still in here. And that's one reason. So my paintings, I try to paint realistically. So I try to paint, people that I know, things that I know, people that I meet. But the colors are crazy because the colors are emotion. Yes, I'm sorry. I go on and on and on. I apologize.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's fascinating stuff. There's so much to talk about, and we just want to learn as much as we can. But with these colors, so you said that you define the color by the texture of it. How do you do that? And like, how much can you see the color at all, or how blind? How much can you see, really?
That is a great question. I have light perception, and that whenever I lost my eyesight, I didn't know anything about visual impairment or blindness, and about 95% of people who are blind have some sort of light perception. Unless you lose the actual orb, your eyeball or the optic nerve is severed, there's going to be a signal that's going back to the brain. And in my case, that signal doesn't reach all the way back to the occipital lobe where vision is handled. So my brain knows that there's light out there, but it can't do anything with it. It's almost like a TV with a cable disconnected. It knows there's the TV works, my eyes work, but there's no signal, there's no picture at the end of it. And so for me, I don't get shadow or color or anything like that. But one thing that I learned pretty quickly when I was learning how to draw and paint again, as a sighted artist, you really only use your eyes to know where you are on a canvas and where you've been. So that's really all your eyes do. You just look at the canvas, you can see what you've painted, you can see what you've done, and you can tell where you are. Well, if you're a person who happens to be blind, you use your sense of touch to do that. You trail around your house, you use your cane around the city, you use your guide dog, but you're using your sense of touch to be able to orient, to know where you are, and to know where you've been. So it's sort of the same thing.
John, when you paint, when you paint and you're touching, like you say, when I've painted in the past and I touch the artwork, I have the biggest opportunity to ruin it. How do you make sure that you're not smudging the paint or ruining the picture as you go?
That's a good question. When I first I built up, it's like anything. The more you do it, the better you get, and the quicker you are at it. When I first started, about 18 years ago, it took me a month to do a small painting. It took me a month, and I would paint 12 to 16 hours a day. So I would paint a little bit, and then I would let it dry, and then I would work on another area. And if you're a visually impaired painter, you use both hands. If you're sighted, you're probably used to drawing or painting with one hand, but as a visually impaired painter, you're going to use two. So you use one to act like your eyes. So you're feeling around on the canvas. You can feel the paint that you laid down before. It has a texture. You can feel that. And you can feel where you want to put the paint down. And then you use your other hand, with the brush to put the paint there. And then you've got to let it dry so you can feel it. When I first started, the paints that I used took forever to dry. So over time you learn how to use paints that dry much, much, much faster. I use heat guns so that I can actually make a mark on a canvas, and if I need to, I can zap it with a heat gun. I can freeze the paint, so that I can go and touch it. But most of the paint I use now, I mix it myself so that it has some drying additives to it, so that I can make a mark and pretty much go back and touch it. But one of the things I thought would be the hardest would be color. I thought color would be impossible to figure out. How in the world can you tell color if you can't see it? But it turned out that was actually the easiest thing. Drawing was really hard. I'm still like every day I'm practicing drawing. I'm trying to make it better and better and better. Just like any artist, whether you're sighted or not, you're always trying to improve. But with color though, I just braille my paint tubes. So, if it's a cadmium red, I can write cadmium red on it in braille. But one of the best things though is that I add different mediums into the paint. So, and a medium is just what paint is kind of made of. Like pigment is the color, medium is the sticky stuff that holds paint together. There's different kinds of sticky stuff that you can mix into paint to make it thinner or thicker. You can make it so thick that it's almost like a putty, or so thin it's like water. So if I'm going to mix a white, like a titanium white, I can mix a medium into it that makes it feel like toothpaste. So that paint is really thick and sticky. And then with a black, I can mix a medium into it that makes it feel really runny and slick like oil. So on my palette, I have this really thick toothpaste-like paint and this really oily paint. There's no way you're going to get those two confused. So if I feel a thick paint, it's got to be the white.
John, what sort of messages would you say to aspiring artists that are still maybe in your position, who may have either lost their vision or have always had low vision or been blind? What would you say to them?
I would say the same thing that I say to students that I work with that are sighted, and that is, let yourself fail. Let yourself be able to take some risks and some chances and be okay with that. One of the great things about art is that it's all about what you can do. It doesn't matter what you can't do. That doesn't even factor into the equation. It's all about, having an idea and having this emotion, this thing that you want to put on the canvas, and figuring out a way to get it there. And for every artist, whether you're sighted or you're not, everybody finds their own way. I've never met any painter, a sighted painter, that paints the exact same way as some other sighted painter. They always put their palette out in a different way, or they work a different way, and of course they have different ideas. But the biggest thing, I think, is being able to fail.
That's right, and I think that's a lesson we can take across the board in any sport, painting, anything we do. We can use that. Thank you so much for giving us your time, John. We really appreciate it, and your work is absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you very much, guys, for spending this time with me.
That's not a problem at all. Thanks, John.
John, thank you very much. We just we'll stop recording there now, but and yeah, mate, we'd love to. We could talk all day about this sort of stuff. I think. Unfortunately, Alexa's got to go to work.
And we're living.
And we don't want to hold up your busy schedules. I'm sure you've got some things you need to create.
Oh no, guys! Thank you so much for reaching out to me. I appreciate that so much.
Not a problem. We'll what I'll try and do as well. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to stream this radio show over in the US. But I'll see if I can find a link that would allow you to do it, and I can email you that link, and then that way you can have a listen and see what you think.
Thank you very much. That'd be great.
Not a problem. No worries. Well, thanks again, John. We really appreciate it, and have a what is it now over there for you guys?
Oh, it's about 8:30, I think.
Friday night.
Yeah.
Friday night, and so too easy.
Yeah, it is Saturday for you guys, isn't it?
It is, mate. Yeah, 9:30 a.m. for us.
Oh, that's funny. Saturday is my birthday, so where you guys are, it's my birthday, but here I'm not quite there yet. Oh, thanks.
21 again.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
21 again.
Oh, yeah. Yes, exactly.
All right, John. Thank you very much, mate. Well, I'll get in touch with you soon.
Enjoy your birthday.
Oh, thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too, mate. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Oh, it beeped. Cool. All right. Well, they were really nice. That was really cool. Well, I didn't get a whole lot of painting done, did I? But they were really nice. That was cool. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing that with me. It was cool having you guys over there. I didn't feel so alone. But I don't know. I've done hundreds of radio interviews in mostly it's like little stations around the world, and it's but this one was really cool. I thought that was fun. But guys, I hope you guys have a good day, and thanks again for sharing this with me. But I'll let y'all go for now, and I think I need to go cook some dinner for the family. I know it's late, but it's a Friday night. Tomorrow's my birthday. Hey, have a good night, guys. Bye bye.